everyone, I'm Kim McLendon. I'm here at the Joseph Paglianiti Culinary School, and I'd like to welcome everyone. Today we're in the kitchen with Chef David Pembleton, who is a professor here at Luzerne County Community College. Welcome, Chef Pembleton. How are you today?
Good.
Wonderful. Chef Pembleton today is going to be making for us a Western omelet, which I'm super excited about, and also a bananas foster French toast. But before we do that, could you tell us a little bit about yourself, Chef Pembleton?
Yes, I've been a culinary instructor here for about 22 years, and we have programs in culinary arts, pastry arts, and hotel and restaurant business management. So that's what I do on a daily basis, is help instruct students in achieving their goals in those types of programs.
Okay, wonderful. And as a former student of yours, it's funny to be on this side of the kitchen.
Right.
You were very instrumental in helping to create the pastry arts program. Could you tell us a little bit about the pastry arts program?
Yes, we didn't have one, so we had some space in our old building. So we were losing a couple of students to other programs, so we decided to give that a try. And it's now in its 15th year of operation.
And that's wonderful.
So we're proud of that.
That's wonderful. Thank you very much. Well, I'm really excited to be cooking with you in the kitchen today. And when we get back, we're going to get started with that Western omelet.
My name's Dominique, and I'm a culinary student at Luzerne County Community College, and I'm here with your culinary tip of the day. Today I'm going to make a compound butter. You're going to start off with 1 pound of softened butter, and you're going to add in 2 tablespoons of chopped parsley, 3 to 4 cloves of minced garlic, and 1 tablespoon of white wine. You're going to mix this all together with a wooden spoon. You're going to mix this all together until it's all mixed very well. It's better to use a wooden spoon because a metal spoon might scratch the dish. Okay. I'm going to put on some gloves. You're going to get a piping bag with a star tip, and you're going to fold the bag down. You're going to fill the bag about halfway full with the compound butter. You're going to squeeze the butter down and get some of the air out. And then you're just going to pipe little rosettes onto your plate. Once they're chilled, you're going to put the piped rosettes onto your finished dish, which right now is grilled chicken. And that is your culinary tip of the day. Bon appetit.
Hello, my name is Beth and I'm a culinary student here at Luzerne County Community College, and this is your culinary tip of the day. Today I'm going to be showing you how to braid challah bread. It is a seasonal holiday bread that is normally braided. So what you want to do first is cut your dough into 3 equal parts, or as equal as you can make them. So what you're going to do next is put down a little bench flour so it doesn't stick. Then you're going to take one of the pieces that we just cut and you want to form it into a long cylinder. You do that by working your dough and pushing down and out with your hands as you're rolling it. This is going to take a little bit of work. Your dough is pretty elastic, so you're going to have to push out with your hands as much as possible. You want to try and keep it even as you're going. So your end goal is to get it as even as possible, and you want it about that length. Next, I'm going to set this one aside and roll out the next one. Okay, once you're finished with the pieces and they're pretty even, you want to line them up next to each other. You're going to attach the ends and pinch them. And then what you do is you braid always over the middle. So you'll take the right one first, then your left. You want to make it pretty tight. Then keep going and pulling over the middle to form a braid. When you get to the end, you're going to do the same thing as you did at the beginning. You want to fold over your ends and pinch them to seal it. Kind of tuck it underneath. Okay, next you're going to transfer your braided bread to the tray. What you're going to do next is brush it down with a little egg wash, which helps turn it a golden color and keep it nice in the oven. Egg wash just consists of a single egg and a tiny bit of milk beaten together. You don't want to do it too heavy or you'll end up with scrambled eggs on your bread, which is not what you want. Make sure you get all around the sides to make sure it browns evenly. And then if you'd like, you can sprinkle it with poppy seeds, sesame seeds, or any other kind that you would think of. After this, you would want to let this set out at room temperature to proof for about 45 minutes. After it's done proofing, you bake it at 350 degrees for about a half hour, 40 minutes, and this is your end result. The dark color results from the high fat in the bread, and that's your culinary tip of the day. Bon appetit.
Welcome back to Cooking Classic, and I'm here with Chef David Pembleton, and today we're going to be making a Western omelet. So Chef Pembleton, tell us what are some of the ingredients that you're putting into this Western omelet?
Okay, well first of all, we're going to be using some red, green peppers and some onions, which we've diced. And Kim, I like to saute them up beforehand because they won't continue to cook. Once they're in the egg, they won't continue to cook. So I think anything that goes into an omelet should be sautéed first or cooked in some way, shape, or form, so it'll soften it up. Okay, so we're going to put the red and the green pepper in there, and the onion. We're going to cook that around. We're going to start to beat up our eggs. Omelets generally contain 3 eggs, and they can have a variety of different fillings and those types of things. So, and I think they're very, very popular in this area.
I
So
agree.
one thing I like about them, you can use almost anything you would like. If you like vegetables, if you like cheese, if you like different ham, we're going to flavor this with a little bit of smoked ham today. You can use almost anything you can imagine into an omelet. So I like that about them.
Yeah.
They're easy to make. One thing you want to be careful of, though, when you're going to make an omelet, I think it's really important that you have the right kind of pan. And you can see this has a Teflon coating on it, so if you don't want the egg to stick and that kind of thing, I think it's important to have that type of a pan. So making sure that the ingredients are cooked first before they go into the omelet, and making sure you have the right kind of pan, I think are two really important things when creating an omelet. And we're just going to mix that around. You see, I've preheated the pan, and we're going to put all of our stuff in there, and we're going to let it gently cook. I have this on about medium-high heat. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this wooden spoon here, and as the egg cooks, I like to pull it back to let that raw egg get down into the hot spot of the pan.
Looks
like
delicious
so.
Already.
Yeah, I like the colors too. It has a lot of beautiful colors.
Looks really good. You can even use this. You can make this for dinner.
Oh yeah, some people eat these for dinner. Yeah, you can have an omelet for dinner. You can have it for breakfast. I've seen them served for lunch. So really, any time of the day is a good time for an omelet. And you can see it's getting nice and puffy. We're gonna just let a little bit more of that egg get down there. Now, if you're so inclined, you can flip it over, like I did. And then I like to take the cheese, and while it's still in the pan, I like to take the cheese like so. And then when I'm taking it out of the pan, I'm going to fold it over onto the plate, and that way it'll help the cheese inside. It'll help it melt from the heat of the omelet. It'll help melt the cheese inside. So we're just going to kind of flip it out of the pan like so.
Gorgeous.
Like so.
You have some garnish here too.
Yeah, and we've got a little bit of garnish happening here. So we're going to use a little sprig of mint, okay, and a couple of cherry tomatoes. It's important that things look good as well as taste good. So we strive to do those things here at the Institute. We try to make things look good and taste good. So that's
great.
kind of what that would look like.
Looks great. That's gorgeous. Well, I'm looking forward to tasting that. It looks amazing. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a brief break. And when we come back, we're going to be making that delicious banana Foster's French toast.
Hi, my name is Beth and I'm a culinary student here at Luzerne County Community College with your culinary tip of the day. What I'm going to be doing this evening is finishing off a Black Forest cake. I'm going to start by masking the sides of the cake with chocolate curls. So you basically just pick up the chocolate and press it into the icing on the sides of the cake as you go. You don't want to press too hard, it'll stick by itself. Chocolate is just a bittersweet chocolate curls. It actually comes like this, so we don't chop it ourselves. You can actually buy it packaged as chocolate curls. So what I'm going to do next is pipe a little bit of the whipped cream icing onto a bigger cake square, and that gives your cake a better base for decorating. Okay, what I'm gonna do next is mark the top of the cake with the edge of a knife for portion sizes. And you do that by lightly pressing in on the top and making a mark. Now what you're gonna do is pipe a shell border along the base of the cake using the whipped cream icing in a pastry bag. You don't want to fill your bag too full or it becomes harder to do. So you just go around the cake, you push forward slightly and then pull back, and that gives you your nice shell border. Next, you're gonna pipe rosettes on the top of the cake on each piece. You wanna start with one in the center for a cherry as a garnish, and then do one on each piece. You do this just by swirling the bag around. Takes some practice, but it's not that hard. And lastly, you just want to garnish it with cherries because a Black Forest cake is filled with a cherry filling. So one in the center and then one on each piece. You want to make sure you push down and seat the cherries so they don't fall off. And that is what your finished product should look like. And that's the culinary tip of the day. Bon appetit.
Are you looking for a college that's right for you? Luzerne County Community College has more than 100 majors to choose from, convenient class times, and many online courses. Transfer your degree and continue your education at a four-year college. Work with modern equipment found in the professional world, all at the area's lowest tuition. Make it happen at Luzerne County Community College.
Hello, my name is Rob. I'm a student here at Luzerne County Community College, and this is your culinary tip of the day. Today I'm going to make a stromboli. First we're going to have to stretch out the dough. We lay down a little bit of flour. You can do this freehand or you can do this with a rolling pin. I choose to use a pin. You want to go a rectangular shape. It doesn't matter if it's not perfect or not. You're just going to seam it together. This is something a home cook could do. Even if you don't know how to make your own dough, you can buy some at the store, it's no problem. We have two blends of cheeses here. We have a provolone and we have Wisconsin cheddar. We're going to lay some of that down. We have a variety of meats here. We have some ham, pepperoni, salami. You can use anything you like, mushrooms, sausage. We have to leave some space on the sides so we don't leak. And you kind of want to center it so that you can roll it up and over. Then we're going to finish up with some sweet peppers, a blend of red and green, some marinara, whatever kind you prefer, and a little bit more cheese. You really don't want that sauce to touch the dough. It'll tear your stromboli and you'll have a big mess all over your oven. Then we're just going to roll it up and over, like so. We're gonna get rid of those ugly sides. You have to crimp it. If you don't, it'll just explode. You want to make a seam. And then you want to make some cuts in the top to let that air release. And now we're going to place it in the oven. We already have one ready for you. It's been in the oven for 30 minutes at 350 degrees. And now we're going to take the ready-to-eat product over here and plate. And that's your culinary tip of the day. Bon appetit.
Welcome back to Cooking Classic. We're back in the kitchen with Chef Dave here, and he's going to be making that delicious bananas foster French toast. So Chef Dave, tell us what's the first step here?
Okay, the first step is we're gonna preheat our pan.
Okay.
And we're gonna take some butter. We're gonna melt the butter down. And then as soon as the butter's melted down, we're gonna melt in this brown sugar. It's gonna give us a nice sweet flavor. And what we wanna do is we wanna create, it's almost like a syrup inside the pan. And traditionally, Kim, when we would make this for dinner, for a dessert, we would use rum. But since we're making breakfast items today, I chose to replace the rum with some orange juice to give us some flavor and just to change it up a little bit.
Okay.
Okay?
Right.
So we're going to put our brown sugar in there.
Okay.
And we're just going to just gently stir that around with our wooden spoon here. I use a wooden spoon a lot when I'm cooking. You don't get a metallic taste. Some people might use a metal spoon, but I find that the wooden spoon works better, and you don't have to worry about getting a flavor from the pan or a color.
Okay.
Sometimes you don't want that.
Okay. All right.
So as you can see, we've melted down the butter and the sugar, and now we're going to put our orange juice.
Now, Chef Dave, instead of using orange juice or rum, is there something else we can use in there in replacement of that?
You can use other juices, but I think orange is kind of a classic. It's kind of a classic flavor. So I kind of like that. But you could use other types of juices as well.
Okay.
And then we're going to put in a little cinnamon.
Ooh, looks good.
For flavor and for a little bit of color.
Beautiful.
And then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to put in our sliced bananas.
Okay.
And that's really going to finish the dish up nicely. Okay. So as you can see, I've pre-sliced them.
Okay. And I see they're ripe bananas. You always want to make sure you're using a ripe banana.
Yeah,
in this dish.
and the way you tell, you want to try to pick bananas that have a few spots on them.
Okay.
And that way, there's a nice sugar content in there, and the bananas are nice and sweet as opposed to being starchy. If you try to use bananas that aren't ripe yet, sometimes they're just not as sweet. Okay. Now another thing we're going to do then is we're going to create our custard to make our French toast. So a little bit of cinnamon, a little bit of milk.
Okay, and how many eggs did you put in there?
I think there's 3 or 4.
Oh, okay. All right.
So you don't need that many.
Okay.
Like so. I'm going to just kind of do that type of thing. And now, the kind of bread I'm using today, Kim, is Italian bread.
Oh, okay.
It's day old too. I think it's important that you use day old bread because it helps to soak up. It helps to soak up that custard a little bit more. Okay? We put a little oil in the pan, and now we're going to just kind of toss our bread through that, like so. And you can see the cinnamon is sticking nicely.
Yeah, it looks
sticking
good.
nicely to it.
Right,
And you hear that sound?
Yes.
That's what you want to hear, because if you don't hear that, then it's really not hot enough, and you want that egg to start to cook, and you see how it fluffs up?
Yeah.
It fluffs up really, really nicely.
Beautiful.
So we're going to take.
Looks great. And now, Chef Dave, is there another type of bread instead of Italian bread that we could perhaps use in this recipe?
Yeah, sure. Out in the industry, Kim, a lot of places use Texas toast, which is a square bread that's kind of twice as thick as a regular slice of bread. So that's very, very popular.
Okay.
Other ones, you might want to use a brioche.
Okay.
A brioche is a little more expensive, but I'll tell you something. It really,
good.
really does have a great flavor.
Wonderful.
So Texas toast, day-old Italian bread. You could use French bread. So there's a lot of different types of bread you can use. But I think the important point to bring up is that it should be day-old.
Okay. Very important.
In the industry, we used to actually just open the bread and leave it sit on a tray and let it kind of get a little, I don't want to say stale, but a little bit stale on the outside. Okay.
And I have to say, it looks absolutely amazing so far. Looks so good.
It smells good too, doesn't it?
It does smell
yeah.
good. Yes, it does.
Yeah, there's something about cinnamon and
I know.
egg together that really,
Yes.
really is nice.
Nice,
Okay.
for sure.
Now,
So what are you
what
going
we'll
to do
do
next here?
is we're gonna plate it up now.
Okay.
So now we're gonna take our bread. See how nice and
Oh, it's beautiful.
golden brown that egg
Gorgeous.
is.
Looks
You
great.
can see the cinnamon started to blister a little bit.
Yeah,
So
beautiful.
I think that's kind of what you're looking for.
Okay.
And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our banana mixture, okay? Our banana
Ooh, look at
syrupy.
that.
See how nice and
Oh my
caramely and
goodness.
syrupy it is?
Yes.
That
That looks
that
very
kind of
decadent.
thing.
Looks beautiful.
And boy, it smells good, doesn't
It
it?
does. It smells amazing.
And then for a garnish, I like everything to look beautiful. So I'm going to put a nice strawberry and a nice piece of orange.
Gorgeous.
And that's kind of how that dish would look.
Wow, Chef Dave, that's beautiful. I know that looks absolutely amazing, and I can't wait to dig into that. So, Chef Dave, thank you so much for being a guest in the kitchen today, and we look forward to more of your delicious creations to come. Thank you so much.